Patreon.
気持ち悪い。
Wow. Listen to Mr. Mob Boss.
This is going to be a shorter video, but I think it's something that has to be said. This notion that Mikasa confessing to Eren in chapter 123 wouldn't have drastically changed everything we have come to know as post-time skip Attack on Titan must die. What is the point of this entire chapter if this is not the case? If Mikasa says, "I love you" in this moment, I'm almost certain everything changes. This is the chapter that finally made me, someone who's shit-talked Mikasa as a bad character for the better part of half a decade, like Mikasa. Not only does this chapter make her more likable than she's ever been, it cleverly makes Mikasa directly relevant and invested in the current conflict through implicating her guilt in this scene. Mikasa now thinks she's at least somewhat responsible for everything that's happened and everything that's happening, from the rumbling to Sasha's death. The apocalypse is happening, and she now has more of a motivation to stop it than her undying, boring, and stupid devotion to Eren. Now it's her duty to right the wrong she made in this scene where she cowards out of telling Eren the truth. It's such a good twist in Mikasa's character and such a great idea to make her directly relevant again, and it should be praised as such. But if you don't agree with my premise that Mikasa's choice to lie here changes everything, then I guess this chapter, or at least the flashback at the beginning of the chapter, has no purpose. To deny the importance of this moment is to undercut the entire chapter. This is likely the last chapter we'll get that primarily focuses on Mikasa. This is undeniably the biggest moment in the chapter. A core theme of this chapter is coming of age. Coming of age stories and films center around usually young adults coming to terms with their adulthood by getting drunk, getting high, and having sex with each other. This chapter serves as our 104th character's coming of age chapter. And it's nearly as ironic as it is tragic, because these young adults have seen mass carnage and death since their preteen years, so it's a little ironic that after everything they've done, from watching their comrades die, to overthrowing the government, to taking back Shiganshina, they now, after all that, have this coming-of-age moment. All the tragedy in their lives and in their reality has robbed them of growing up normally, so it's fun to enjoy a semblance of normality in this chapter with them. They may have fought titans for years, but they've seemingly never gotten drunk together, and this chapter highlights this irony. And it comes across in other ways too, because it's very important this flashback happened in the current period of the overall story. Because the 104th characters getting drunk together for the first time is an outlier moment in Attack on Titan. We don't usually get these happy moments with them, and the fact that this happened now, after the flashback we got last chapter, is the perfect way to highlight the juxtaposition going on here. We are in the middle of some majorly depressing and fucked up shit. Our protagonist of nearly a decade has literally announced mass genocide as his final solution. But to take a breather and flash back and appreciate these coming-of-age moments is important for both the pacing of the series and for the character writing. Now, this chapter showed the characters getting drunk, which is one of the three things I highlighted earlier, as elements of these coming-of-age stories. And it's really the only one of the three that Isayama could feasibly show. Japan firmly has a stance against drugs, so we aren't going to see our characters getting high together even if Isayama wanted to show it, but sex is a different topic entirely. Attack on Titan has always had a bit of an identity issue. It's never really known if it wants to be a big boy story or some pissy shonen baby bullshit. This is most represented in its absolute asexuality. I made this point about Attack on Titan's asexuality in my Jägermaster Plan video in much more depth than I will here, but Attack on Titan has remained steadfast in its absolute devotion to asexuality since the inception of the series. Isayama has avoided any relationship development and any sort of sexual contact between his characters almost to a detriment of the realism Attack on Titan strives for in most instances. It's almost cynically, symbolically fitting that the only character we know to have been confirmed to have had sex is super depressed, and directly because of it too. But the fact remains that Isayama has been trepidatious in the past about involving sexuality in his series, but with the implications in the subtext of this chapter, and of the scene this video talks about, it's now impossible not to talk about. Getting laid would have definitely chilled Eren out, especially in this moment where he doesn't seem to be entirely lost. This is something that I think is undeniable, and contrary opinions saying that Eren getting laid wouldn't have stopped his downfall drove me to create this video. This moment may have literally been the final chance we had of saving Eren. Mikasa, I strongly believe, could have pulled him out of the depravity he has fallen into now, in this moment, if she had just been honest. To argue against all this subtext seems ludicrous to me. The point of Mikasa's narration in this chapter is to outrightly corroborate this video's titular statement. She literally says it in this panel. So don't lie to me, Carlo. Don't tell me that Mikasa confessing here wouldn't have stopped Eren's downfall. There's a reason there's a stereotype about teenage girls where they are really bratty and annoying and full of piss and vinegar until they get laid and mellow out. It's part of growing up, and as sexist as that last attitude seems, it's clearly being implied here to Eren as a male. People tend to forget to worry about the grander world when they are focused on something more personal and far more rewarding. Eren could have focused his energy from this point onward cultivating a relationship with Mikasa rather than setting up the apocalypse. Then again, maybe this denial comes from people who haven't been mellowed out yet. Again, Attack on Titan's previously mentioned identity issues have led to the fanbase being tainted with shonen babies, so maybe. That's really all I have to say about the subject. I'd say that it's pretty ironic that now I've made more videos about Mikasa, a character I supposedly didn't like, than any other character in Attack on Titan. Eren got one, Levi got one on the old channel, but Mikasa now has 2. So go watch the other one. But having made that point now abundantly clear, how confident are we now that Eren is still the father? I've said that I want Historia to have been impregnated by some random farmer dude. If you're curious about my rationale behind that statement, watch the Jaeger Master Plan video. I made a playlist. But in that same video I concluded that Eren had to be the father, but now I'm not necessarily sure. If he is the father, then this video maybe falls apart. Though you could argue, and I will if necessary, that Eren and Historia's would-be relationship in that scenario wouldn't be what I'm talking about in this video, but still with this context, Eren being the father is still an interesting point to revisit. Let's do that in the comments section. Or better yet, live on Twitch. Come check out the Twitch stream. I don't do boring gaming content, we strictly talk about media analysis there, and it's a lot of fun. Also, I need to get to 50 followers to become an affiliate, so please help me out. Patreon is always fun, help fund quicker and better content. Follow me on Twitter for itty-bitty hot takes. Subscribing to the channel helps as well as we inch back towards the number of subscribers the old channel had before YouTube took us out. Support links in the description below. Thanks.
Last time I checked, you had no education either, you fucking whore.